you guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Maggie and I do all types of skincare, spiritual care, and self-care type of videos. So that's something you might be interested in. I would love for you to stick around by hitting that subscribe button so that you never miss another upload from me. So speaking of spiritual care, today's video is going to be all about how to trust God during difficult times. We all know that we're living in this crazy, scary time, so even now it's more crucial to put all of your faith into God, to put all of your trust into God, and to not fret and be scared and be fearful about what's really going on. But besides that, even the everyday stresses and everyday difficulties, sometimes we can find ourselves drifting away a little bit, and I'm here today to bring us right back to that. So let's get into these tips now. Tip number 1 is to remember the faithfulness of God. I know it can be hard to do once the hard times are actually here, but the Lord has a very attentive ear and He's always waiting for us to come to Him. He rewards those who seek Him diligently, and we tend to block our blessings when we have one foot with Him and one foot against Him. There should never be an in-between. You're either with Jesus, you trust Him, you love Him, and you have faith in Him, or you don't. We have to always remember that God not only does what He says He's going to do, but that we have to actually believe it in every situation, every difficult time, that He will show up for us and come through for us. So that's my first tip, is to remember the faithfulness of God and all His promises to us. So tip number 2 is to rely on God's plan. I know we are creatures of independency, and I know we may think we know what's best for us, but in actuality, guys, we don't. God had a plan and a purpose for our lives since day one, and only we changed those plans when we deterred from His guidance. And still, we come up with plans and scenarios with the hopes that it will deliver the results that we want, but God doesn't say to do that. So cast your cares unto God, rely on His plan, and that right there, guys, is enough for me, to get me through these difficult times. And my last tip is to check your faith scorecard. There's something that I like to do when I'm starting to feel a little bit of doubt in my mind, or if I'm under some type of just spiritual attack, and that is, I remember. I close my eyes and I remember the countless times that God has came through for me and my family. He has never let me down, not even once. And I'm pretty sure you could say the same about you. No, those situations were not easy to get through by any means. But I've come to realize that there's just no power in worrying about things that you probably can't change anyway. And when God has already proven and shown Himself strong in your life anyway. So there's no power in worrying. So I've built up memories and almost like a scorecard in my head of all the great times that God has came through for me. And whenever a difficult time does hit, I just like to really just sit back and meditate on the faithfulness of the Lord. It just brings me back to a point of salvation and victory, knowing that I can do all things through Him. And also helps me to remember why I can even trust Him in the first place. He's never let me down. I have tons and tons of testimonies and just memories of times where I thought we would never make it, or we'll never make it through. And guys, if you are in that state, if you're in that feeling right now, I'm telling you, difficult times are bound to happen. We live in a world ran by the devil. Difficult times are going to come, and I think you should almost expect something bad to happen, and if it doesn't, that's just even more of a blessing. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, expect those difficult times to happen. That way you can already prepare yourself. You can already prepare your mindset and your reaction when those times do come. So having that faith scorecard, relying on God's plans that He already had for you, that He continues to have for you if we stick to His word and His guidance. And just remember the faithfulness of the Lord. Just remember that, just look at Him for the God that He already is, and everything that He's done for you and I. Like, we can't not credit that to Him, okay? We cannot just say, oh, I was lucky, or maybe I has something to do with it. No, I can almost guarantee you that it was all God, it was all Jesus. While we're weeping and we're crying and we're thinking that we can't make it through, God is showing up, God is working behind the scenes, and faith without works is dead. Works without faith is dead, okay? So you can't say that I'm doing this and I'm taking care of business and, you know, doing everything I'm supposed to do and things still aren't going my way. Something in there is not attached, you know, something in there is not fully committed or 100% invested in the word and in his powers and in his abilities. All right, so we have to start looking at things from a more spiritual point of view and almost expect bad things to happen, almost expect difficult things to happen, because this world is not perfect. Okay, and I think we can handle those times a lot better and when we put our trust into the Lord. Okay, so trust God with all your heart, and hopefully this was helpful. If you have any other tips or ways you know, sort of cope or try to get through difficult times, I would love to hear them. I'm not perfect. I always looking for some wonderful spiritual tips to always get me back spiritually grounded. All right, that's all I have for this video. Hopefully this was helpful, and I will see you in my next one.